Hello, and welcome to Alliance Health Individual and Family Directed Services, or IFDS, Agency with Choice model. This is a high-level training for Individual and Family Directed Services, or IFDS, Agency with Choice model. Alliance has updated the IFDS manual effective March 1st, 2025, to reflect any and all changes for the innovations waiver that went into effect on July 1st, 2024. Disclaimer: the information in this presentation pertains only to the counties and Alliance Health catchment area. This information is specific to Alliance Health and may not apply to other LME-MCOs, providers, stakeholders, or individuals outside the Alliance Health catchment area. Presentation slides are brief bulleted points of information. The NC Innovations Waiver, Clinical Coverage Policy 8P, referred to as CCP 8P, and Alliance Health Individual and Family Directed Services Manual should be referenced for further details. The agenda for this training includes the types of self-direction, or IFDS, purpose of the IFDS manual, updates to the IFDS manual, ending or leaving the IFDS option. What are self-directed services? The NC Innovations Waiver offers participants options for provider-directed and self-directed services. Self-directed services are known as Individual and Family-Directed Services, or IFDS. There are two options for IFDS under the Innovations Waiver. First, Employer of Record, or EOR, and Agency with Choice, AWC, with a managing employer. Most, but not all, Innovations Waiver services can be self-directed. Members can self-direct community networking, community living and supports, individual goods and services, natural supports education, respite, supported employment, and supported living. Please note, in order to self-direct individual goods and services, the member must self-direct at least one other service. Just because a member chooses IFDS, that doesn't mean they have to self-direct all of their services. Waiver participants can self-direct just one service, or they can choose to self-direct all their services. However, if a member chooses to self-direct a service, all hours of that chosen service must be self-directed. What is the purpose of the IFDS manual? The Alliance Health IFDS manual serves as a comprehensive guide for members and families who are considering or participating in self-directed services. The manual should be used alongside the Innovations Waiver and CCP 8P. Revisions have been made to the IFDS manual to provide the most up-to-date information possible. Let's explore a few of the changes in the latest IFDS manual that pertain to the AWC, or Agency with Choice model. These are the most notable changes in the manual, but this is not an exhaustive list. Again, please refer to the IFDS manual on our website along with CCP 8P and the Innovations Waiver for the most up-to-date and pertinent information. AWC agreements. The IFDS managing employer and representative agreements will now be signed yearly. Your care manager will ask you to sign an updated agreement during the next annual ISP planning meeting. The purpose of this agreement is to define responsibilities of the managing employer and representative, if applicable, in the Individual and Family Directed Supports option, Agency with Choice. Before beginning self-direction of services, the chosen managing employer must sign the IFDS agreement. The representative must also sign the agreement. The care manager will update the current self-directing members' agreements during the annual ISP reviews. All members will have an updated agreement over the course of the upcoming ISP year. Following self-direction training, the Community Navigator Agency is required to complete an attestation for consideration by Alliance Health for the managing employer and representative, if applicable. The purpose of this attestation is for the Community Navigator to identify areas of readiness for the participant's services to be self-directed by the managing employer and representative, if applicable. This is signed by the community navigator and presented to the member's care manager, managing employer, and representative upon completion. Lastly, we'll discuss ending or leaving the IFDS option. This may happen voluntarily or involuntarily in certain circumstances. Leaving or ending an IFDS option is called termination, ending, or withdrawal, leaving. Termination or withdrawal from an IFDS option does not mean the participant will be taken off the innovations waiver. First, let's discuss voluntary withdrawal or leaving. If the managing employer becomes incapacitated and another managing employer or representative can't be found quickly, the participant may leave IFDS services. In this case, the family needs to tell the care manager. The care manager will meet with the family to draft an ISP revision, returning the member's service to provider directed with their provider of choice. You can choose to go back to self-directed services at any time. That will require an ISP revision. How to leave IFDS services. First, the family needs to tell the care manager. The care manager will assist in locating a provider agency for the participant's services. The care manager will meet with the family to draft an ISP revision, returning the participant's services to provider directed with their provider of choice. Then the care manager will tell the community navigator and inform the managing employer when the services have been authorized. Now we'll review involuntary termination or ending of IFDS. Alliance may remove a participant from IFDS when health and safety are at risk or the managing employer has made the same major mistake 3 times in 1 year. Alliance must first speak to Medicaid or Division of Health Benefits before termination of IFDS per CCP 8P. Health and safety concerns may include maltreatment, abuse, or neglect of the participant, repeated unapproved spending or misuse of NC Innovations funds, no approved representative when one is required, refusal to accept necessary community navigator services, refusal to work with or allow a care manager to monitor services, refusal to work with or take part in monitoring by Alliance or other state or federal oversight groups, noncompliance with the IFDS option, the AWC provider, and/or employee support agreements, or any other event described in the Innovations Waiver or CCP 8P. The Innovations Waiver defines a major mistake as not being able to carry out the ISP or follow NC Innovations requirements after technical help and support has been given. Please note every participant should be given the chance to be successful in IFDS. Alliance will offer technical support before terminating IFDS. The steps for involuntary termination. First, an initial report. This is where concerns or allegations of major problems with the IFDS services are reported to Alliance. Secondly, there will be an investigation where Alliance staff investigates and reviews all available plans of correction and documents. Alliance may also consult with NC Medicaid. After review, Alliance may recommend termination of the IFDS option. If the removal is an emergency, Alliance staff will contact the Chief Medical Officer or someone they designate for a decision about removal. The decision is then reported to Division of Health Benefits or NC Medicaid the first working day after removal. Termination from the IFDS option is normally at the end of a month, but when the termination is due to a threat to health or safety, such as physical abuse, termination is immediate and provider-directed services resume right away. If you do not agree with the decision to terminate IFDS, the managing employer can file a reconsideration request or a grievance. In this slide deck, we have provided a link to our website where you will find policies and procedures for filing a grievance with Alliance. Thank you. This concludes our training on the revised IFDS manual, which is effective March 1st, 2025. If you have any questions, please contact the Innovations Waiver Care Management Managers at the email address provided in this slide deck. We will also include a link to the revised manual, which can be found on the Alliance Health website. Thank you for your time and participation.